Good evening. It's a little bit after 5 out here in Tennessee. Um, I hope you had some opportunity or you found opportunity in your day to review the two-part video that was uploaded yesterday. Um, because what's going to happen is that's going to tie into today's video. All right. Um, those who know me, grew up with me, um, became familiar with me, they all see me in their perceived unique way as the last state of multiple frequencies and balances that I presented myself as. So as I sit here today, the version of me right now is different than the version historically. Let's use that word, okay? Every day you wake up, it's brand new. Every day that you wake up brand new, you are in a higher elevated version of yourself than you were yesterday. The only time that you lower your current version self is when you allow your thoughts to go back to yesterday. Then you embody the feelings, the thoughts, the emotions, the ideas, the beliefs of yesterday, and you bring it into your present now moment. What I am here for is helping you, or I should say, guide you into navigating, not only elevating yourself into a higher version of yourself, but transforming it to where it's a lasting impression. Okay? So today, uh, we're going to talk about frequencies. All right? Uh, the last video was talking about manifestations, the fundamentals of manifestation. Those are basic components. So I give you the information at basic level. Your job is to go in deeper, okay? Apply the information, practice the information, execute the information, okay? Today we're going to talk about frequencies. Now, let me give a little quote to you, okay? When we ask those profound questions and we can't find an answer, or the answer that we get from others is in their perceived lens of observation and how they share their energy of an answer to your question, but doesn't quite solve the question in a complete cohesive manner. The reason why is because that question that came out of you also has the answer to come out of you. You're only going to get a partial of an answer from other people based on their thoughts, their beliefs, their perspectives, the way that they vibrate, and at what frequency they are in at the moment that you ask that question. Okay? Nikola Tesla said if you wanted to know the mysteries of the universe, think in terms of energy, vibration, and frequency. Okay? Now we're going to go back to a little bit of basic science. All right? Energy is everything. Everything is energy. Okay? Energy has the capacity to change its state through either transformation, transmutation, or transcendence. And I know that word probably is a little bit more unfamiliar because transcendence isn't a common term spoken in common language with your social circles or familial ties. Okay? unless that person is in the same kind of field of expanded awareness and understands with a discerning, um, higher elevated knowingness of transcendency, it's going to be probably a little bit difficult for you to truly define. That's completely okay. We take gradual steps. Remember, it's a marathon, it's not a race to the finish. Every change that happens in you, no matter how small it is, has the ripple effect to change how you experience the outside world. Okay? Energy is everything. It's around everything. It's in everything. Okay? It's in the state of frequency of which. So this deck, it's in a frequency of how its state of being is to be. Prior to this state of being of it's to be and behave as it's been assigned a task to behave as, it was a tree. Tree, through process, was transformed from a tree into lumber. Lumber transformed from lumber into an object called a deck. Well, more like a deck, um, deck top. Okay. I am not a deck expert, so if I said that word incorrectly, I apologize for those that are deck builders. All right. I wanted to illustrate the fact that everything of energy has the potential to change its state of being. This was a change of state of being by taking physical, external processes and measures. All right? Someone had to learn the information, practice the information, and apply it in order for it to become this state of being. Okay? Frequency is the state of being on which you are at. All right? Vibration is how you are vibrating in that frequency. Okay? The more you are vibrating in that frequency, the more experiences you receive in that frequency. Okay? And so when you send it out, and if it doesn't come back in the same moment of time that you are open and receptive to it, it's going to come back in when you vibrate again in that frequency. Okay? In that state of being. If you are in a state of being, of feeling guilt or shame, you're in a low frequency. Okay? If you are in the state of being, feeling elated, joyful, happy, loving, you are in an elevated frequency. Okay? Frequencies aren't just your emotions, but they're the state of being of which you embody in the present moment. Okay? Is as you are vibrating in that frequency, you are also vibrating your identity in that frequency. How you have identified that emotion and that frequency. What constructed it, what experiences came in, and what meaning of value was rendered to the experience is all compiled in that frequency. Sometimes we have to drop into that frequency to know ourselves well enough to know what we hold within ourselves. But we're not meant to stay at that frequency. Okay? We are meant to observe all that we are. And the key to awakening to your highest version self is knowing yourself well. Okay? Intention and frequency. Remember I mentioned the intention is why you want something. Okay? What does it serve a purpose for? How is it going to serve you in a high positive manner, and how are you going to share the experience of that experience with others in a high positive manner. That is intention. Another form of intention is you doing a practice in which you are seeking to, let's say, answer a profound question that you have. Okay? You go into meditation, right? Meditation is basically closing your eyes off to duality, your physical environment. You're surrendering your attention to the physical environment, right? So you're going within. When you close your eyes to duality and you focus your attention right about here, you're focusing inward on your inner self, okay? Your inner thought field, your inner emotion field, your inner vibrational field, okay? Your spiritual field. You have multiple fields, layers upon layers, okay? That makes you who you are today. You have a physical field, which is a physical form that is able to readily interact with the physical environment and whatever manner you use your physical form to interact with it as. Okay? Intention of the frequency that you want to vibrate at. You don't have to stay in the frequency because you feel a certain way about an experience that has come in. When an experience comes in, whether it's grief, you might express grief, right? But the experience didn't cause the grief. You had the capacity to grieve because of the experience that you experienced. Someone comes in and says a word to you. You already have a word in your meaning index, what you hold inside, that may have either dropped you in frequency or elevated you in frequency. When you are dropped in frequency because you allowed that information to flow in energetically, it dropped you into a frequency which is called depress or depression. To come out of depression, it's a state of choice. You choose to elevate. A lot of people will stay in that frequency, thinking that it's going to solve its problem, but it doesn't. It just releases its hold, so to speak, and goes back into its hidey hole within you till another experience comes in to bring it back out. But you have the conscious choice to choose to elevate yourself out of that state of being. Okay? Those are certain frequencies. All right? Frequency of insecurity or doubt is it's higher than shame and guilt, but it's still a lower vibration frequency, or a lower frequency of which you may vibrate at, okay? The higher you elevate your emotions, the higher you elevate your thoughts in the frequency spectrum, the more you become aware of the higher aspect of yourself. The lower you allow yourself to fall in the spectrum, the more aware you become of the lower frequencies that you have. Everyone has a unique scale of frequency, okay? They have measured frequencies through sound waves, but the sound wave of that frequency isn't always exact. Let's use that word. The sound waves, sorry, the sun is popping in my eyeball. The sound measurements that were used, and you can look up solfeggio frequencies, Schumann resonance, and there's some others that have taken the approach to map out what the body is vibrating at, what your mind activity is in brainwaves of when you are introduced to those sound frequencies. This is why you have people out there like myself who is certified in sound healing therapy frequencies, where I can play a sound of resonance in the background of a video and combine it with another modality as addressing content, embedding Reiki energy into the video, with how I prepare foods. You can combine modalities. Modalities are tools. All right. Not one tool is going to suit every single person, right? Because we're all unique. So it's better to expand. That's right. Open up. Expand your toolbox of tools that you can use. Okay. It doesn't matter if anyone else agrees with you or believes with you in the methodology of your approach. They have a problem. They're not finding a way to, they're not understanding a solution to address the problem that they are experiencing. So they are coming to you to help navigate them, which is going to be full circle to them going back into themselves and discovering the root cause of what makes them in the state of being in which they are experiencing life as. Whether it's an illness, whether it's a financial crisis, whether it's relational crises, whether it's a spiritual crisis. Okay? And we don't need to go into that right now. But frequencies is what you vibrate at. Okay? I have a cone right here. Imagine up here is the open convex. The more you elevate in frequency, the more you expand and open yourself up. The more that you lower in frequency down here, the more you shrink yourself. All right? You make yourself small. You feel small. The work that we do is to elevate you into the vibrational understanding and resonance of your unique self so that you may feel fully expressed without judgment or condemnation. Okay? You have a right to express yourself in your own unique way, as long as the way that you are expressing yourself and how you are experiencing something in life is not directed towards somebody, but rather shared with somebody. When you change your focus from to rather than with, you no longer put them in a position where they now have to defend themselves. Okay? Remember, you're not changing somebody. The only changes that you have power over is the change that you do within inside yourself that reflects in your experience in life. Okay? The highest tier of frequency is super consciousness, meaning you are super aware, super conscious of all that you are, all the energy you supply, all the thoughts that you hold, and share with others, all the words that you express, and how your words have effect. Okay? How you feel, and everything you hold within your emotional field, and how you express those emotions of yourself. That is all you, right? If you want to experience love in life, you must be in the frequency and vibrate at the capacity of love that you desire to experience love in life. Otherwise, you will be in the frequency of how you judged something that didn't look like love, and you will draw more of that into your experience. Okay? If something that you are noticing, remember, your outside environment can be used as a tool, not people. All right? You don't use people as tools. You become aware of how people behave in their own unique way. When they interact with you, they have the capacity to mirror, reflect all that you hold within yourself. Okay? Exercise love and compassion. If you do not understand what love and compassion is, or you haven't defined it in a meaningful, expressive way within yourself, look up examples. Observe your surroundings. Watch a video, listen to audio songs that uplift you, that's right, elevate you into that frequency. Okay? What does it feel like? What does love feel like in that frequency? Jump in that frequency and emit the energy out of you, and you will draw more of it into you. Okay? You don't attract into your experiences what you're not vibrating at. Okay? You only attract into your experiences what you are vibrating at and the frequency of which you are vibrating at. Okay? I said that to give you a little basic foundation, and yes, that is basic, which means that there is a whole dimensional world to dive deeper into that would be your work to do. I've already done the work, but I can't do the work for you. I can give you resources and guidelines and tools and help direct you to address your unique self, but I can't do the work for you. That process has to be done through you, because anybody else does it to you or does it for you, you're only going to see it with the beliefs that you hold right now and probably reject their pearls of wisdom. Okay? Frequencies of desire. Yep, that's true. You hold desire in your heart center. All right? But how are you desiring things? Why are you desiring things? What purpose would it serve had your desire been met? Your subconscious mind has been playing this out in your experience, unbeknownst to yourself, because you have been taught to become more aware of your thoughts, more aware of your emotions, and more aware of how an experience coming in can be contributed to the state of being of which you are at. Okay? Frequencies of desire is what you might want to manifest in life, or what you might want to experience in your life. But you might be doing it from a different perception, different mindset. Okay? Your mindset might be in the frequency of lack, though your heart set is in a different frequency of desire. And they're not aligned. They're not synchronized. To synchronize them, you have to synchronize your thought and your heart field. Okay? They call it brain and heart coherence, right? When you have supporting thoughts of all the ways that it can come into your life, and you feel, or you have supporting feelings of how you would feel had this thing come into your life already, what would you feel? When you align those positive or higher elevated thoughts and those emotions that you would feel had that thing come in already, you are sending out an energetic pulse, alerting it to come in its own unique way into your life. But you may not realize it has already come in because you might be in a different frequency, or you might be jumping into little self and trying to analyze everything that's happening. Or you might try to deduce it or use reason or logic. And in this, when you're doing self-work, you have to let go of trying to make sense of it all. Because the more that you try to make sense of it, the more you put a block on your own personal transformation, on your own personal growth, on your own elevated higher version self. Your higher elevated version self already exists in the same present moment. All things exist at the same time. That's why I said time is a concept. What had happened is only because you have an understanding of time. You have a concept and meaning of time. Without concept of time or meaning of time, everything would converge in the same fixed point. But everything exists simultaneously at the same time. That's why they say if you want something, imagine it, feel how you would feel, had that imagined form come into your life already, to attract it in that vibrational state, in that frequency, and it has no choice but to come in. Has no choice. Okay? There's another type of frequency I want to talk about. Your innate capacity to self-heal. That's right. You may not be aware that you have the innate capacity to self-heal any ailment in your body. You have the power with your words and your thoughts and emotions to command your body to behave in the manner that you desire it to behave in. That's when you take subconscious power, curb it, and you flip on conscious power, meaning you are consciously intending to use your energy and power to command your body to behave a certain way. Okay? Sometimes we can't grasp the depth of understanding of that. And we're stuck in our own historical patterned ways of beliefs, of limitations. Because we allowed someone else's belief to come in and become our own. And we lived our life holding on to that attachment of someone else's belief as our own. When you let go of all the beliefs that other people let you have or introduce you to, what do you have left? Just you. And that's the key to everything in transforming your life, is identifying what you hold within yourself and letting go of the attachment that's not yours. You might not know where it came from, but you can give a command and say, I realize that I have this limiting belief, and I now send it out of me with your authority, because you have domain over your body and how you use your energy. I cast that out and send it back to source. Source is the person who gave that belief to you. And they might have said it repetitiously, and then someone else might have filled the role because you had a seed of that belief, and that seed of belief got nourished by new faces, new experiences, new circumstances. Okay? We take our little non-physical shovel, we go into our soil, and we uproot and cast it out. Plain and simple. Don't even overthink this. Don't question it. Don't second guess yourself. You are a powerful being. And I don't think I can express that any clearer in the words that we use. Okay? You are a powerful being. You are worthy to be in the state of being that you desire to be in. You just have to have a small granule belief that you are worthy to be in that state of being, in that frequency, to experience life as you would desire to experience life. Okay? But let me talk about the purpose of attunement. Okay? When you might be in a church and they might have baptismal. Is that familiar with some of you? Baptism is literally the symbolic physical representation of you going under, which means that you are letting go of all of the identities that you have stored within yourself that are not your own, that served a certain purpose, but they no longer serve a healthy manner within you, and you come up anew. You come up anew, meaning that you are now a new, higher version self of you. But your little mind self may jump back to historical patterns, historical beliefs. When you get baptized, take the initiation of creating a new pattern instead of going back to what was. Okay? That's how you solidify the purpose behind baptismal. Okay? And that's water baptism. All right? They have in evangelical denominations, they have what's called baptism by the Spirit. Okay? Where you surrender yourself and open up to the flow. They call it the Holy Spirit. To the flow of divine energy into your life. Okay? You're already a divine being, but you had forgotten who you were, and you got compiled with conditioning through familial ties, ancestral ties, passed down, social circles, a sense of acceptances, a sense of being appreciated, etc., that you hid your unique self. You always have this capacity. You always have dominion over yourself. Okay? How you use yourself is up to you. How you present yourself is up to you. But if you are presenting yourself in a judgmental way towards someone else because they're living their life, expressing themselves, experiencing life in a way that they hold their thoughts, beliefs, and ideas, they're going down a life path that's not the same as yours. Yours is unique to you, and theirs is unique to them, but your life paths might converge, okay? In that moment, you have the opportunity to express love, compassion, and understanding of just how challenging it was for you to navigate through your lifeline to your present now as it was for them. Okay? They're doing the best they can to the best of their awareness. And they probably had the same classical training and schooling and system as you might have, but you might have understood something different than how they might have understood it. That's the uniqueness. Okay? Attunement. When an evangelical, they call it a revival. When you get invited to a revival, they lay their hands over you, and in tone, they are praying on your behalf for the energy of spirit to fall down upon you but you will not receive it unless you allow yourself to be open to receive it. Remember when I said that other people cannot do something for you, right? In this capacity, they can't heal you for you. They can't embed information in you for you without you allowing. Okay? That's just one aspect of it. But I did want to get into religious ideologies and practices. There will be a time later on that I will address information, and I will even break down some passages that may have been misinterpreted by your own unique way because of the beliefs that you had in the way that you decoded the information. Okay? That will be definitely another time. I don't even have the flow of information on that, but I do know that it will occur because I have already imagined it in my mindscape of it occurring. And here you go. Look up this reference. All right. If you have thought it, you have already done it. Okay. And I couldn't tell you exactly what passage it is, but it tells you that if you're already imagining something, it's already taken place. The physical component will catch up to it, and however it does, all right, and unfolds in its own unique way. But let's talk about attunement, okay? The reason why I bring up attunement is because one of the practices that I am certified in is Reiki practitioner energy. It's universal life force energy, of which we allow ourselves, our bodies, to be a conduit, a channeler, or channel flow of Reiki energy, universal life force energy, to flow in through us and export out of us towards another person in the bringing them up into resonance of their own innate healing frequency. Okay? When you become attuned to Reiki, you're going to experience it in a unique way. Not everyone experiences it the same way. You might be at a higher vibration that doesn't necessarily need a dramatic occurrence to occur for you to be aware that it's taking place. All right? You might be at a very low vibrational spectrum that when you receive it, when you receive and allow the transmission of Reiki energy to occur, it brings you up, and you might experience some things like shaking, tremors. You might feel elevated temperature. If you are too high on the frequency, where, and I don't know why this might be, other than it may be too soon that you jumped into something that you were not aligned with harmoniously, okay? Where it brings you down into your normal frequency, okay? When you get attuned to Reiki, you allow yourself to be accessible of Reiki energy, which is all around you, okay? In your energy field, etc., etc. But when you become attuned to it, you become readily as a conduit and channeler to utilize energy for yourself, and those that's in close proximity. That's level 1 Reiki. Okay. Animals are sensitive to Reiki. Okay. Uh, I don't know if you can see him, Mr. Bean back here. He loves Reiki. When he's had enough, he'll mosey on by. If I'm doing Reiki and sound resonance therapy for myself, he'll come up. He'll sit like probably um, not even 2 feet from me and just soak it up, the energy. Okay. Cats, when you go and pet them and stuff, you are literally petting them with your energy, and the energy that is flowing out of your hand is going on them. And what they're doing is they're taking that energy and they're displacing it somewhere else. Then they come back, and you might notice them, if not in the moment, that they're starting to bathe themselves. They are bathing the energy that's not theirs. Okay? Intelligent creatures. Okay? Intelligent. It may look like that they're looking for your attention or affection, but really what they're saying is they're coming up to you and saying that, hey, you have energy with you that doesn't belong with you. So I'm going to come here and it's going to encourage you to pet me. It's going to absorb that energy and move on. Then come back. Okay? That's why they eat food periodically throughout the day. That's why they drink water periodically throughout the day, to refuel their own energy. Okay? Um, Attunement is another word for becoming familiar with. Okay? You become attuned to the frequency of Reiki, or attuned to whichever modality that you learn um, self-healing for. Okay, you might use Tai Chi for self-healing, where you use balancing of your Chi, internal external energy. Okay, you might use yoga um, discipline for self-regulating. Sometimes one practice, even though it is beneficial, may not be the thing that is actually addressing the root cause of the thing that you might be feeling in the moment. Okay? It's okay to explore other vices or modalities on top of that practice that you might be practicing. Okay? It also is one of those things where it brings you out of your comfort zone to make a meaningful connection with another person that is um, familiar with their own modality. And then you become exposed to a new form of modality, and where they can impart teaching and knowledge to you, and you can, in exchange of equivalent compensation, which doesn't have to be in the form of money, but in exchange of information, where you exchange with the other person your familiarity of modality for your own well-being. Okay, um, that's where attunement goes into familiarity. You become familiar with the frequency of Reiki and how it's flowing all around you. Okay, uh, sometimes you will not be immediately aware of it, but it's always working. It's always flowing. Um, they often teach you to say the word 3 times to activate it, but it's always active. It just brings your focus, because where your focus is, your attention and focus, that's where your energy flows to. So when you rebring your focus back to that, uh, in the idea of activating Reiki, it's where you're giving more energy to allow the Reiki to flow through you. Okay. Um, and I have other modalities too: nutrition classes, fitness classes, you name it. Um, I am not limited in any capacity of where I can help in an umbrella of areas in your own personal life. Okay, you just have to take the initiative to reach out and say, "Hey, I'd like to work with you." That's all you got to do. Cool. Um, but let's move along. Okay. Uh, In the frequency of desire, you attune yourself to that frequency, or you become familiar with that frequency of desire, okay? If you desire to feel courageous, align your energy and emotions and thought processes of what courageous looks like, and stand firm in the foundation of courageousness, okay? This isn't saying go be a hero. This is you taking your own initial approach to remaining courageous even when your external world hasn't caught up with the changes inside you, okay? Some changes will start as a seedling. Other changes are growing because seeds have been planted in there. Because you didn't just get planted poor vibrational seeds. You got planted high vibrational seeds too in your experiences. You just might not remember how they came in, okay? 2 types of attunement: self-attunement and assisted attunement. So in Reiki, you become assisted attuned to the frequency of Reiki. But you can self-attune yourself to your own innate healing capacity. Remember when I said you can use your words and command your body to behave a certain way? That's you attuning your body to heal itself. When you give the command, be healed. You can attune your thoughts to higher vibrational thoughts when you command your thought field to behave as you desire. Okay? Remain present. When I say remain present, you have this capacity to compare and contrast what's here, what's not here, etc., etc. Historically, this is what I experienced, so futurely, this is what I'm going to experience. Drop that notion altogether, because you are self-sabotaging every experience that you want to elevate in your life. Plain and simple, there's the truth. Drop the old belief. Let go of the attachment. Cool. That experience came in. It taught me something valuable. I felt the resonance of how it felt. I now dismiss that belief out of me and allow my belief to be elevated into a higher frequency where all things happen in my favor. That's it. Simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. Remain present. Present is right now. Wherever you're seated, wherever you're standing, wherever you are at, whatever you are doing is your present now moment. A second ago is not your present now moment. An hour ago is not your present now moment. The notification that came on your phone, if it didn't happen just now, it's not the present now moment. Okay? Stay focused in the present moment. All right? You are going to self-sabotage yourself if you do not remain in the present moment. Okay? Shift the frequency with present now moment. Okay? Be careful with your monkey mind. Like I said, second ago, a minute ago, an hour ago, a notification. You're going to have things that vie for your attention. Okay? Because you've been conditioned in a capacity where the external world is allowed to vie for your attention. This is where you are taking time for yourself and saying, no distractions. My attention and focus is the present now moment. Okay? If a person values you well enough, they will allow you to take the time that you need without rushing you through the process, even when they may not understand it. Okay? Ground yourself in the present now moment. Grab a cup of water. Drink the water while you're seated. Shift your frequency. Okay? Water helps ground you. It also helps deliver messages as you charge that glass. So, as you hold that glass and just before you take your drink, you can command the water to behave a certain way when you consume it and bring it into yourself. Okay? Such as, let me say, I charge this water with the intention and purpose for it to not only hydrate me, but cleanse me of all lower vibrational cells or dead cells that are not serving me in the highest capacity. Then take your drink. You are giving an offering to your divine self through a physical measure of your mouth to your stomach, and allowing your intelligent body to disperse it, because that's the embedded message and it has to obey. It's not going to get anything else unless you give it to it. Okay? The body knows that. The body might alert you and say, hey, we're low on energy. You want to feed us? You want to give us something to drink? If your body is alerting you and saying that you are low or dehydrated, you should have been drinking a while ago. Continuously. Probably 6 to 8 ounces of water every 45 to 60 minutes. Okay? You use a lot of water energy through your thought power, through your emotional power, through your physical power, through your word power, through your optive power. Okay? As you see something and you're thinking in your mind, you are projecting the energy out. Okay? This is where you become familiar with all of the power that you have. When you become familiar with the power that you are using in the present now moment, you open yourself up to the awareness of the power you did not realize that you have within you. Because not being responsible over the smaller portions, and by all means, these powers that you have is not small, okay? But being less responsible or irresponsible over these power that you have, the power to think, the power to speak, the power to feel, the power to resonate, the power to give and receive energy, okay? They're not small, diminished powers by any means, okay? But if you are looking to expand and elevate your awareness and be conscious of what all that you have within yourself to bring to the surface, you got to be responsible for the energy that you produce. Okay? You are responsible for the energy you produce, not anybody else. They might have brought themselves as they filled a role and expressed themselves in that role capacity. But whatever energy you produce in that moment, you are responsible for. Doesn't matter if they played a role and they triggered something within you. If you didn't take the necessary opportunity to remain in the present moment, calm and neutral, and observe without judgment or condemnation, you would become more aware of what is being reflected back at you. Okay? Be responsible for the energy that you produce. Alright? Attune yourself to the familiarity of your energy and how you contribute to the energy in your field. Okay? Your field can expand. I think they measured it like 7 to 8 feet around you, scientifically, but I guarantee you it expands even farther than that. Okay? But that's a whole nother universe that will probably require you to do your own due diligence to go down that rabbit hole and sift through the information and go deeper into understanding of it. That is not something that I would technically teach at a basic level or introduce too much of at a basic level, because it can challenge your current state of beliefs. Okay. I will challenge some of your state of beliefs, don't get me wrong, but I want to challenge the state of beliefs that you have in the capacity of which you become familiar and aware of those beliefs so that you can uproot what beliefs do not serve you anymore. Okay? Cultivate the experience. Remember I said develop patterns and practice them. If you have to stand in a mirror practicing affirmations to be that which you desire to be, or experience that which you desire to experience, practice it in the mirror. Sorry, there's looks like a delivery truck coming up or something like that. Repeat it. You learn your beliefs through repetition. And after a while, those repetitions become auto-played. So if you want a new belief, or if you want to experience something new in life, you have to elevate your beliefs. You elevate your beliefs by changing the content and value of your belief. Okay? Practice vibrating at the frequencies of the things that you desire to experience. When you practice the frequency at which you desire to experience at, you provide energy to that thing to attract it into your life. As such, you just allow it to flow in. When you say it's not going to work because it's never worked, you put up a block, right? But if you allow it to flow in, which means that you are remaining calm, relaxed, in the present moment, you've already made the declaration, you've already supplied the energy, let it come in. Whenever it comes in, it comes in. It has its own unique divine timing. But you gotta surrender the idea to control when something comes in, or how it comes in, what manner it comes in, through which channel it might come through, okay? Create a positive relationship with the thing that you want to experience. That's right. If you want to experience more money, see money in a positive relationship way. When you do that, you put a new belief in yourself. Money is a good thing. I love money. Money loves me, etc., etc. Whatever you want to use, those are just examples. Do not follow the example as if it's like set in stone. Okay? I won't typically elicit everything that I say when I try to put myself in a state of relaxation or non-stressed, and I do my own self-work. Whether it's manifesting something in my life, whether it's uprooting a belief within me, whether it's planting a new belief seed within me, because that's my unique experience. And unless you want to go back into the beginning where I began and walk the same exact path, receive the same experiences, meet the same faces, meet the same outcomes, which you probably won't, because I didn't like all of it when I went through it. So more than likely, you wouldn't like it in the way that I had to go through it in you. Okay? We all have our own unique lifelines that we walk. The reason why is because there's not another you. There's only you. And when I say there's only you in this moment, in this dimension of reality. There are many versions of you. If you can see a version of yourself in fulfilling a different type of role or whatnot, it already exists. And if you don't see an imaged version of yourself fulfilling that role as that such, create the image in your mindscape and tell yourself how you would feel had you fulfilled the role of that thing that you want to experience. You're not saying that I'm going to feel this way if this thing comes in. You're not saying that I'm going to feel this way when this thing comes in. You're saying I'm going to feel right now, in this present now moment, as this thing has already occurred. And that's the key to your frequency of emotions. Okay? That's the key to attracting that. And then just create a disciplined practice of repeating it. When you repeat it, you embed it into your beliefs. When you embed it into your beliefs, you embed it into your subconscious mind. When you embed it into your subconscious mind, you embed it into your behaviors, into the way that you speak, into the way that you carry yourself, the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you resonate. When you embed it into all of those aspects, you embed it into a characteristic. Characteristics long enough turn into traits. Traits long enough turn into a full embodied identity. And you live in that identity from that belief that was planted. That's why I say the stories, narratives, and identities that you have stored within you aren't all yours. They just served a certain capacity for whatever reason, but they might not be serving you well anymore. Or they might be standing in the way, which is like basically putting a block in the way of what you want to experience in life. Let go of the block. Now you're probably asking me, well, how do I just let go of a belief? How do I just let go of a block? Well, first you have to identify that you have a block. You also have to identify that you have a limiting belief. When you finally realize that you have a limiting belief, which is just that, a belief of limitation, okay, where you probably have heard or was rehearsed to you, or you said to yourself, whether out loud or in tone or in front of a mirror or with social circles, doesn't matter, because everyone has mirror neurons, so it reflects it back to you. As you have felt that belief, it took root. So you're going to have to go in and do your work, and the work is always done on the inside. Remember I said you clean the inside of the cup, and the outside of the cup will reflect the same. Okay? There's phrases out there, and that's one of them. You can look them up, and you could probably get an understanding of it. But understand, everything that I talk about, everything that I give you direction or guidance for, is for you to do the work on the inside. Anything that I put a connection to, a calibration of, or a frequency of, it's all directed towards the inside person of you. If you're not experiencing life the way that you want to experience, you're going to have to change something within you to move into position in alignment of that which you want to experience. And then move out of the way. Okay? Tell nobody about it. When you try to tell somebody what you are trying to do, they are only going to reflect to you what you have in yourself combined with their thoughts, their beliefs, their perceptions. So if you're trying to make moves to elevate yourself into a higher vibrational version of you, keep it to yourself. And whatever steps and methods that you take, okay, keep it to yourself. Because that's your unique journey. And your unique journey may not fit the other person's unique journey. It doesn't matter if they're your partner or a best friend or close neighbor, colleague at work. Doesn't matter. You don't know all of the beliefs that you hold in yourself. If you knew all of the limiting beliefs that you hold in yourself, you will already be transformed, and you will self-realize all there is about you. And this is how you know yourself well, by doing the work within and letting the outside reflect it. Okay? Look up the frequencies. All right? Look up the frequencies of emotions. If you have no legend or something to help determine where the frequencies might lie, maybe do some sound therapy. You can go on YouTube. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that has sound frequencies, solfeggio frequencies, Schumann resonance, brainwave frequencies, um, to help you get into the state, the flow state of where you desire to be at. Okay. Um, share the frequency with others. So if you're attuned to something or you are familiar with, and you are, let's say, a master in the field of what you are familiar with, share it with others. All right. You can give your testimony of what you've experienced, right? But share with others the joy, the excitement, the new profound awareness that has opened up within you, the elevated consciousness of all that is occurring in your life. Okay? You don't have to go into detail about what you see. In fact, I recommend you probably don't actually tell people what you see, what you hear, what is going on, because they may not share in the same vibrational frequency of that which you see or hear or experience. Okay? They may be a part of that experience by being along the ride with you, and they may experience something uniquely different for them that they might not be aware of because they may not be in that state of awareness to be aware of. Okay? Teach others. This is where you take your experience, your personal experience, and the practices and techniques that you had used to transform your life. Okay? I am just a catalyst. And although my intention is to help others transform their own personal lives through the work that they do within themselves by the tutelage and guidance of and the sources and materials that I provide, I know I can't change you. I can't transform you. You have the power to do that. But you might not be aware of how to go about it. That's where I come in at. Okay? Teach others from personal experience. Don't teach others from what you've heard or what was told to you through someone else's mouthpiece or recording, etc., etc. Your personal experience. When you teach from your personal experience, it's your authenticity. And I guarantee you, people will see through you if you are not being authentic in what message you have to share. You know, it doesn't have to be a coach. Every one of us has the potential to be a life coach, a transformational coach, a wellness coach, corporate coach, you name it. Every one of us has the capacity and ability to be that version of ourselves if they chose to. But a coach, the first coach that a coach will ever have is themselves, because it's from their personal experience of coaching themselves, going through the work of themselves, applying the practices and techniques themselves, in which they become the higher version, transformed self of themselves. You are your first coach if you plan on being a coach. And you don't have to do a coach as a profession. You can be a coach as a hobby or when you're speaking with a friend. or a social circle, or people are receiving you in your new heightened state of vibration, you're going to attract people to you. And people are going to tell you before you even open your mouth that something has changed about you. They still see the physical form of you, but something has changed about you. You glow differently. Um, you have a brighter demeanor about yourself these days. Something similar to those cases. I've gotten that. Um, but I see life differently than other people. And that's completely okay. Because I trust what I observe and perceive because I go within to get a deeper understanding of what it is I am perceiving. Okay? Never forget you are also the student. Okay? Not only do you have that opportunity to share your experiences, but you're always going to be both the student and the master of your experiences. Student is always learning. The master is always providing. Okay? Your future version self, master version self of you, will guide you. And I'm not saying look for a physical person or look for someone that fits the closest description of what you look like. What I'm saying is that who you are present now and who you will be is going to be completely different if you walk down the path of transforming your life to becoming more aware of the energy that you hold within yourself and the energy you share with other people and the various ways in which you share that energy. Okay. We already talked about blocks, jumped into that a little bit earlier. So frequency, vibration, energy. You are energy. Your body is energy. Your thought field is energy. Your uh, words are vibrational energy that is produced out of you. But when you hold them within, you're still vibrating at the same frequency of those words as if you were speaking them out loud. That's why I say be careful how you speak about yourself because you cast spells on yourself. Speak about yourself in a high positive minded way and you will have a supporting mindset of a high positive minded way. Speak low frequency about yourself and you will have the experiences of being in the state of being of low frequency. Simple as that. That's your power. uh, Energy is what you supply out and what you receive. You're an antenna and you're both a transistor and the receiver. And some energy that you send out in the moment comes back in the same moment and you receive it in that same moment. If it's a poor energy that you are sending out in the moment in the state of being of which you are in the frequency of, and you're still in that frequency and it comes back in, you're going to be aware it's coming back in. But when you jump in a different frequency, or you say, okay, I've had enough of feeling guilt or shame, and now you jump up into relaxed, content, you're not going to see that energy come back in. You're not going to be aware or perceive that energy come back in because you jumped in the frequency into a different frequency of vibration and that you are vibrating at. Sorry. Vibration is how you are um, tapping on that frequency of. And as you are tapping and vibrating on that frequency, imagine like a fan that is oscillating, okay? can be oscillating at a slower speed, can be oscillating at a faster speed, can be oscillating super fast. Okay? The more energy that you supply to the frequency of which you are in and that you are vibrating or tapping at of that frequency, the more is produced out, the more is produced in. Okay? Give a little, receive a little. Give a lot, receive a lot. Understand? Cool. So your vibrations are your sensory feeling emotions. Okay? What you are resonating in the feeling of when you're in that frequency. Okay? When you are lost, because everyone that I have met that has gone down the path of doing the work within themselves, there comes to a point in the process that it seems like you're not yourself, but the truth is you're shedding the layers that actually aren't you. And to do that, sometimes you have to empty yourself. And some people call it emptying yourself by doing fasting or eating differently, um, increasing uh, nutrition such as antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, etc., etc. The things that help cleanse your body out or cleanse the inside out. Um, but the trade-off is that you end up perceiving things with a with a greater sense of clarity than you have historically. Okay. The reason why clarity could be a difficult aspect in that which you perceive your experiences as, you may have stressed components and your fight and flight response might be still fully engaged. Okay. Um, that's where a technique or methodology or modality can come in and help alleviate the stress factor within you. Okay. Uh, Reiki works, massages work, chiropractic works, um, acupuncture works. I recommend consulting a holistic wellness doctor prior to any of these modalities to be certain that this is something that you physically can participate in. Okay? We do not want to further aggravate if you have a physical ailment uh, without seeking a knowledgeable, holistic health practitioner. Okay? And when I say practitioner, they are a licensed medical doctor with a huge emphasis on the holistic aspect of a person, where the things that they might recommend to you are natural based, not chemical based, not pharmaceutical based. Okay? When you are lost, return to the basics, but don't stay at the basics. Dive deeper. When you dive deeper, you get a more profound understanding. The basics is the basics, okay? Equip yourself with the supporting knowledge and resources, practical exercises, disciplined modalities that align to that which you want to be, ex- to experience life as. and you get a component of equipping. When you equip it or you consume the information, practice the techniques, you develop uh, a discipline. Such as like when I said, if you want to use affirmations, state the affirmations, repeat the affirmations. If your thoughts are coming in trying to tell you that you aren't worthy of this affirmation or some other low vibrational thing, that's cool. Let them come in. Keep saying the affirmation. As you keep repeating it, it will sink in your soil. As you keep saying it, in the morning when you first wake up, at night just before bed, every single day, keep saying it. Stay at it. The process will unfold in whatever unique way it does. Okay? Don't force the outcome. When you try to force the outcome, how it shows up, which way it shows up, where it should show up, etc., you block it from coming in. You keep it from coming to the source, and you are source. You've sent out the energy, you've aligned yourself, you have the supporting positive thoughts, you have the supporting positive emotions, you have the supporting frequency of which you are vibrating at. But then you allow your reasoning and logic to kick in and your words to be embedded, and you put up a block. Basically telling the universe, I changed my mind, no, I don't want this. And it stays there until you drop that block. Which means till you let go of the desire to control the outcome. Okay? Never force the outcome, but allow it to flow in. Whenever it does, however it does, wherever it does. If you are doing this every single day and you are saying your affirmations every single day, in the positive affirmations, by the way, elevated affirmations, and you are doing them every single day, the universe has no choice but to bring it to you in its own unique way. Okay? If you desire for a higher elevated state of beingness to be your new neutral normal, say it as if you already are in your affirmations. I am a higher elevated whatever you want yourself to be as. Okay? And just keep saying it. Keep repeating it. Repeat it throughout the day. You don't have to repeat it out loud. The same power that you have by speaking it out loud is the same power you have within you when you intone it. The only difference is when you speak it out loud, other people have the opportunity to readily hear it when you speak it. Write it down. Take a notebook and write it down. Write what you want to be. Write how you want to experience life. Write all the ways that you can experience it in your life. Who's there with you? Who's supporting you? Who is encouraging you when I say supporting? Okay? What are they wearing? What are you wearing? How do they talk? What way do you talk? What mindset do you have? What mindset is your audience receptive of your presence have? Get clear. Get into clear as clear as possible with your intention of that which you want to draw into your experience in life. And map it out like a scene. You've seen movies, right? You see how the backdrop is created. You see stage crafting. You see costumes, scripts, producer, director. You are the producer. You are the director. You are the script writer. You are the costume designer. You are the stage crafter. You're even the person that goes and gets the coffee for the actors. You are all of the figures, just dispersed in other energy forms in your scene. As you were scripting it out, as you were drawing it out, visualize it in great detail. When you focus so much on that visualization aspect of that which you want to experience in life, you send energy to it. The more you focus, laser-like focus in on it, not how it can't come in, not what you don't have. Remember, when you are trying to manifest anything in the form of energy, vibration, and frequency, you are trying to manifest. You are seeking to manifest as it has already occurred. So you're not looking about what you don't have. Instead, you are saying, "I have," or "I have received." It doesn't matter if it doesn't line up with your physical reality in the moment. You commanded it. You have claimed it. You have drawn it out. You have sketched it. You have visualized it. You have given intention. You have given purpose. You have given direction. You could do it with anything at all. Take a notebook, write it down. In fact, I don't typically show people this, but if you want to be something, write it down as "I am." Okay? I am. And repeat it every single day. When you say "I am," cool. You have made an affirmation with the power of your words, the power of your thoughts, with the power of your energy. Okay? You are vibrating in the frequency of creating the identity of "I am." Who do you say you are? When you are introduced to somebody, or even if you go to a new region, this is the best part. You go to a new region that no one has ever met you from in person, other than maybe if you have YouTube videos or something, and you say, "I am blank." You have declared to that area of physical plane dimension of who you are. And they have no ability to refute who you say you are because they don't know you from Adam. Treat your "I ams" the same way, as if you stepped into a different dimension of space, or a different dimension of space that you occupy, and you have an imagined audience. Declare to your audience who you are, who you decide you are. You can be anything you want to be. Declare it, claim it, express it, and share it to your imagined audience. If you can imagine an audience, you're going to have an audience that you give that identity to. Energy never dies. It just changes form. This is why it's often taught to not be attached to the material aspect. Whether it's living material or its living material aspect. When you become attached to the material aspect of living energy, you will experience in your belief set of what it's like with that non-material or with that material aspect not there. But the thoughts, the emotions, the spiritual body, the astral body, the energetic body, they all remain. They never die. Never have. You were just taught to believe in the idea that once the body no longer moves, that's it. They're gone. And I won't say what I see, but I can tell you they're not. We have an identity of meanings. We have an identity of expressions. And in those identity of meanings and expressions, we experience life as we hold that meaning in belief within us. So we're going to experience events and circumstances that align and match that belief that we hold within ourselves. This is getting a bit long. I did not plan to be this long on this. But in your manifestation, when you try to manifest, whether you use affirmations or anything else, or you use writing is a powerful tool, by the way, and we'll get into that in another time. You solidify what it is that you're drawing to yourself. Just step out of the way. Let it flow in. Okay? Just because it might not come in today, or it might not come in tomorrow, or a week from now, even though you might be pressed, lower vibration, lower frequency of vibration, because something in your immediate environment presents it as that, and you allow that energy to occur. Okay? Go back to relaxed. Go back to stress-free. All right? And we will check in about, I gave you 30 days to implement these practices. And then check back in with me. If something's not working in the way that you want it to be working, let go of the control of deciding of how you want it to be working. Okay? Everything works in your favor, regardless of the value of belief that you have, or beliefs that you hold. Everything works in your favor. Alright? Trust the process. It will unfold itself. Alright? Love you guys. Be well. Be well. Be well. Have a great night.